Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. Here on the home of the slightly above average ship review, got my ranked recap of the Tier 5 1v1. As you can see, I have the T61 in my port, I have the Graf Spee in my port, I have the Huget in my port, I have the Warspite in my port. Lots of ships available to me at Tier 5, but I chose the Anshan to do a little something different. Now, I doubt many people have the Anshan compared to the T61, but I wanted to see how the Anshan would stand up 1v1. Now, I do admit I did make one mistake here that I would change if I had this to do over again. I have the 8-kilometer Deepwater Torpedoes active on the Anshan, and I didn't even think or consider to swap them out for the shorter range regular torpedoes because I'm a moron. So I also will tell you I didn't win 15 straight matches. I think I had 20 matches total, 17-3. So I cut out the losses and the duplicate matches so you don't have to see those. It's all wins here in the Anshan for the Tier 5 ranked battles. I hope everybody ranked out. Obviously, I'm recording this on Monday. I'm dealing with a little bit of a sore throat. I don't know if it's COVID or just a plain old cold or something else altogether that came out of a lab somewhere, but I have it. So I've got water, I've got a Ricola, and I got a Fubuki. Folks, please don't ever take the Fubuki into a 1v1 ranked battle. You are setting yourself up for failure. The only thing the Fubuki can do is stealth torp. Obviously, it has no chance. Here at long range, really good ballistics. Remember, the Anshan is just a Gnevi class destroyer, so it favors long range gunnery. Take a little break by going behind the island, but trust me when I say I had no fear that the Fubuki was going to be able to defeat me. And in this same matchup for anyone in the Anshan, you should not have any fear at all of losing to a Fubuki, as long as you avoid the torpedoes. So like I said, the Anshan is a Gnevi class destroyer, so it was buffed along with the Gnevi class, so it's really short reload. I think it's just 3.2 seconds on the main battery. And you can pretty much beat the crap out of the Fubuki, plus you're going to have way more hit points. So this is a gunboat against destroyers and a torpedo boat against everything else. Now, I did lose to a Graf Spee. I think I lost to a Nuremberg, and I lost to a Mahan. The Mahan set me on fire after I damage conned him, disabling my rudder or something like that. So I essentially burned to death. Those were my 3 losses.
Engine boost activated.
But I want to say I think we do defeat one cruiser in here, although it may be a match that I cut out because I was getting back a star I'd already won. Anyway, we dodged the Fubuki's torpedoes and set him on fire. It's pretty much all she wrote for the Fubuki. His only chance was stealth torping. I control both cap circles, which is a great tactic to use against a concealment destroyer. Force them to come into the cap, and we take him out. So that's the rank 9 battle. And I want to say thanks to everybody who watched my Cossack video. The most watched video I've ever had, over 1,000 views. So if you haven't watched that and you want to see me rip on Wargaming, or you could just wait until I do my Mogador video and then I'll rip on Wargaming again. I think a lot of people like the ripping on Wargaming videos. We'll have to see if that's a pattern when I do the Mogador video. All right, Tier 8, Tears of the Desert, another Fubuki. It's the same guy as last time. I had this a couple times where I faced the ship and then I faced him again. I want to say I think that happened to the cruiser, the Nuremberg. He beat me the first time, didn't beat me the second time. So I had this happen quite a bit. I don't know if you did. If you had it happen to you, please let me know in the comments. I was playing this Saturday morning, so by that time, probably, I don't know, a quarter of the player base had probably ranked out. and I think I'm in the... I don't know. It's hard to say. I really wish they would let us know what percentage of the player base is ranked out in these ranked battles before we start them. Because I'll tell you, if you're not as skilled, it might be a good idea to wait till the end. Because all the good players are going to be done, so they aren't going to be playing there. So you give yourself better opportunity if you wait till the last day. All right, moving out in the Anshan again, we're just trying to find the Fubuki. We're going to capture these cap circles and put the pressure on them. And we're going to dodge the torpedoes and then use these Russian guns to tear him up. And I want to say I think he put up a better fight last time because there were different islands. Here with this one big island, there's not really a lot of room to hide. So we're bow tanking in order to avoid these torpedoes and easily dodge them all. Use the widespread. Just my opinion, I wouldn't have used the widespread. Maybe give you a little better chance to get a hit. I know my Deepwater torpedoes cannot hit the Fubuki, but I am launching them more as a scare tactic to see if I can get him to make a movement or something to avoid them, even though he does not have to. Believe me, I've fought other Pan-European or Pan-Asian ships here. You'll see a match where the guy does try to torpedo me with the Deepwater torpedoes. They don't hit destroyers, folks. They don't, so don't shoot them. Unless you're shooting them as a feint or maybe to make the guy think you don't know what you're doing. Either way, now he's going to try to gunboat me from around the island. That is very quaint. Yes, I'm expecting more torpedoes. No, I am not worried. You can see good guns, no problem tearing them up. We're going to change direction here. The torpedoes are in the water. We're going to go bow on. And we're going to eat one. But because we have really good hit points, we can afford to eat one. It's good to know that. And then at this point, he shot his load, so to speak, so he's virtually helpless. And then that's when you sail to the stern of the ship, where he can't really shoot at you at all, and then you can tear him up. Thus endeth the match. Alright, so another star, rank 8, moving on to rank 7. I think he did better than last time. He got a torpedo strike, so I mean, yeah, he did better than last time. What other ships did you guys use and ranked? I'd be interested if you didn't use the ships I named. T-61, Graf Spee, Hugo, Warspite, Nuremberg. Is there any other ship you think is really good at these Tier 5 ranked? I'd love to hear about it. I don't play cruisers. I'll be the first one to tell you, so I will never do that. Here we got a T-61. Now, to me, this is a real test because the T-61 is the apex ranked battleship. I think it's a default for a lot of players because you got that smoke sonar combo. And that was foremost in my mind during this match. And I said, if he tries that on me, I've got to get behind an island, got to create distance, make him burn out that sonar, and then go back in hard at him and see if we can take him out that way. And I'll tell you, pardon for the sniffles, I have a post-nasal drip or something. I think this player, I don't know, I think maybe he got a little apprehensive because he saw the ship I was in and didn't know a lot about it. Or the other possibility is he's just not that good of a player because I don't think he used his consumables in the right way. Clearly, I don't have a lot of room to talk. I am just an average player, but that's just my opinion. And here you can tell me if you think I'm right or not. So we move into the cap circle, again, just trying to get him to identify himself where he's at. I'm expecting the cap contested marker to come up any minute now. He spots me. He does have me outspotted, so that tells me he's using the concealment mode. And he goes behind the island here. Alright, my torpedoes are out. Again, those are just a feint. I know they're not going to hit him. They're trying to get him to go the other way, like where I'm aiming at right now. And he didn't do that. At least I don't think he did that. Now, we are using the gunboat commander Sajen Bing, so I do have the RDF indicator. Unfortunately, wargaming makes it so hard to see against a cloudy sky. In some instances, I'm moving my aiming point toward the island just to get an idea of where the RDF indicator is. All right, so he hid behind the island here. I would not have done that. I would have pushed in. He should know. He doesn't have anything to worry about from my torpedoes. He wants to get me in open water, jam on the brakes, hit that smoke sonar, and tear me up. And he's just not doing that. And I don't understand why he did what he did here. Now he's turning back because my guns are just frying him. He's got to get me in the open water where that sonar can do its work. And so I think he really tactically misplayed that. Here the sonar comes up. As you can see, I'm not even worried. He's still broadside to me. He didn't smoke up. This just doesn't make any sense. So we finish him off quite easily there. In the Tier 7 match, or the Rank 7 match. Alright, moving on to Rank 6, where you need 2 wins. Rank 5, you need 2 wins. Rank 4, you need 2 wins. And there's no keeping a star, even if you do really well. I know I actually heard people complaining about that once upon a time on Reddit. It just is what it is, man. It is the way the game goes. All right, this is the Mahan. This is not the match I lost to the Mahan. Obviously, I clipped that out. I made that very clear. I did not go undefeated. I went 17-3. So this Mahan player, you know, the Mahan is a gunboat. It's kind of a bully. It's the kind of ship where you get the advantage on the other ship and you can take him out. The other Mahan beat me because he set me on fire and I had already used my damage con. This Mahan is not going to get that opportunity. Although it's a little more cat and mouse than straight running in and shooting each other and seeing who wins. You know, the Mahan isn't going to win that against a ship like the Anshan or the Genevieve or maybe even a French destroyer, because those destroyers have way more splash damage, in my opinion.
Enemy force detected.
And maybe they don't have the reload as quick as the American destroyers, but their guns do more damage. Again, here, this is just a feint, seeing if this player will react to the Deepwater Torpedoes. You know, the farther away you get, Mahan, the better it is for me and my guns with good ballistics. You can see my shells are not as floaty as his. Set him on fire, which is good for me. Also disabled something, which I'm sure he damage conned. But I would say if that's round one went to me. He didn't do a ton of damage. We took him down to a little over half health, I think. And so by going behind the island here, he doesn't have a heal, so there's really no reason to do that. He's trying to smoke now. Did he launch torpedoes into the gap, hoping to hit me, hoping I ran into the island? Maybe, but we cap out this base, so the advantage is on us now. He's got to come to us because we are accruing points faster than he is. And this is the other great thing about a ship like the Anshan. You know, when you're playing in a regular 9v9 match, you've got to worry about cruisers and battleships shooting at you, especially cruisers. You have to worry about carrier planes spotting you and keeping you spotted. In a 1v1, you don't have to worry about that. So in a destroyer v destroyer battle, a gunboat is always going to have an advantage. Now again, I should have put on the regular torpedoes. I didn't even think about it until I was watching Metager Extreme and somebody mentioned, are you going to put on the regular torpedoes? And I was like, oh great, I just played the entire ranked battles without putting on the Deepwater torpedo, or without taking them off. I'm putting regular torpedoes on. Because I wanted torpedo range in case I was dealing with a cruiser or a battleship or something like that. I wanted to be able to see them long before they saw me and be able to reach out with the torpedoes and take them out. That didn't even happen. So I just said to myself, gunboat only focus against other destroyers. The Mahan is having a lot of luck knocking out my modules. I don't remember if any other ship other than the Mahan knocked out as many modules as the Mahan did, but this also reflects the one loss I had to the Mahan. He knocked out a ton of my modules. I hit the damage con. Then he set me on fire and I burned down. And that's how he ended up beating me in that match. So this Mahan did not press the advantage here. I thought he would come in and really keep hitting me with those guns. The closer range favors the Mahan. He has torpedoes. Obviously, I mean, he doesn't know what kind of torpedoes I've mounted, but I do. I know I don't have torpedoes. So to me, I want to keep him at range rather than let him close in on me, because that's where those short-range U.S. torps are going to be advantage all him, and he didn't do that. All right, so we cap out Bravo because he capped out Alpha and flipped that cap. So again, we negate any advantage he got from doing that. And at this point, I'm just like, screw it. Let's hit the speed boost. Let's move in and take him out. You can see he doesn't have a lot of health left. Really nice reload on these guns. And we're able to finish him off there. And use the islands. You know, that's another good tactic. You can't launch torpedoes if there are islands in the way. So that was one half of the rank 6. Moving on to the second half of rank 6. What are we going to get here? I don't even remember. I don't even remember what ships I faced. Polar. Oh, yeah. Polar's not a map I'm fond of for rank battles. Is that the same Mahan as before? It may be. I don't know. If it is, I think I said to myself, all right, he's clearly not going to let me do what I did last time, which is dictate the engagement. Or he's going to try to prevent me from doing that. So I also kept it in my mind that I've got to keep him at range. Now, I don't remember if I did that or not during this match. But I remember thinking that I was lucky to have defeated him so easily the last time. Because you never know if somebody had a bad game or somebody was messing with them off screen, or maybe their internet connection took a dump. You know, you never know why somebody's going to lose. Maybe he forgot he could use torpedoes. I don't know. But here we spot him right away. And that kind of tells me he's not using a concealment build. So that's good. Because we're going to be able to spot him, and the range favors us. So here you can see I'm starting to kite away a little bit, trying to get those guns around. And if he's just going to sit broadside at range, I totally enjoy that, because I'm going to be able to stay out of range of his torpedoes. Now, he smoked up. He never should have done that. I don't understand that at all. You're not going to be able to see me once you smoke up. And it wasn't like, I mean, you're going to have to kill me to beat me. And just going broadside out of your own smoke seems really dumb. But again, he's giving me broadside at range. And you can see his shells are a little bit floatier than mine. In fact, the farther away we get, the floatier his shells are. And my shells grouping right on top of each other. And really good shell travel and ballistics. We're able to just rip them apart. In my opinion, U.S. destroyers in these rank battles, you've got to close in to 5 or 4 kilometers. And that way you can use your guns and your torpedoes, as opposed to sitting at range with a Russian gunboat, which essentially the Anshan is. That doesn't make any sense to me. You're not going to win that battle. And clearly, the Mahan didn't, you know, for the second match in a row. All right, moving on to rank 5 here in Northern Waters. Another destroyer, another T-61. Don't know if it's the same guy as last time. I don't remember that. But again, I think you're going to see here, you negate the sonar by moving into... I wanted to see what rank this guy was at. Rank 8. All right, well, that's a cool picture and everything, but... you negate the sonar advantage by moving into their smoke screen until they're spotted, you know. So if you're in a rank battle and somebody has a sonar destroyer and you don't, maybe you can't afford one, a premium one, maybe you don't have a tech tree one, and so you're playing with a Benson or maybe a Kid, and you don't have sonar, and you're sonared by another destroyer, my advice to you is bow on the last known position of that destroyer and close the distance, because that's really all you can do to mitigate. And now, granted, en route, you could throw some torpedoes into that smoke screen. That's great and everything. You've got to get to the guaranteed detectability on these destroyers that can do that smoke sonar. All right, hint, hint, tier 7, low yang. I can tell you, I know I'm using low yang at tier 7. There's just no way. I mean, that's the best smoke sonar in the game. All right, T-61 made himself visible. Again, these torpedoes are just a feint, just to see if they'll affect the way he maneuvers or something like that. He's going bow on here, which I don't think is a bad tactic, but we're already disabling one of his guns. We're just piling on the damage here. He may have braked slightly there to avoid the torpedo, didn't need to do it. He should have full braked right now, hit his sonar, stayed in his smoke screen, and he would have had a little bit. See, he should be in the sonar right now. And anticipating that he's going to do that, and he does, I'm going to smoke up and turn away. Now, by turning away, I dodge his torpedoes. By turning away, I increase the distance to his ship, and he stopped. So eventually, he's going to run out of sonar range. And his aim was terrible. And I know that directly contradicts everything I just said about dealing with a smoke sonar destroyer. But I think you saw if I had pushed in there, I probably would have been killed by the torpedoes. So yeah, I will amend my previous statement and say situationally dependent on whether you decide to push in or not. There, I turned away because I anticipated he was going to shoot torpedoes. We've got a huge advantage in hit points. He let me beat him down. And so for me, it's more beneficial in this scenario to break contact. He's using his sonar again, and that's great and everything, but he's not shooting, you know? There's his first salvo. His sonar had been running for 10 or 15 seconds, and I'm just going to go behind the island here, you know? You can't shoot through a rock. All right, now he comes out of his own smoke screen. We're going to turn to make sure these torpedoes get dodged, and just anticipated what he was going to do a little too well. No problem tearing him up. So T-61 ain't that strong if you can mitigate its magic punches. All right, that's half of rank 5. Moving on to the other half of rank 5. Oh, by the way, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a great day off, you know, whatever. It's all good. Personally, I'm a prime rib fan on Thanksgiving. Turkey's great and everything, but prime rib's better. All right, so I get Shorty again on Polar. Let's see if Shorty learned anything from our last match. AOL keyword, I doubt it, but we'll see. I don't remember what happened other than I beat him, so it's all good. All right, so moving out here. So again, I'm anticipating he's going to have said, hey, I got to get this guy in open water before I smoke sonar and blah, blah, blah. And I think maybe his problem is that his commanders aren't highly ranked up enough. Now, I would use Blue Furiora on the T-61. He does have a little bit of a spotting advantage, maybe a couple hundred meters. So maybe he's here in air spy. But I run Blue Furiora and do a concealment build on T-61. That's just me, because I want a big gap between my sonar and my actual detectability. So torpedoes coming in, and we're just going to turn away and brake, and in doing so, they sail harmlessly past. Although that was a much better opening on his part than last time. So here he's kind of flipping the tables on me. He is capping Bravo, and I capped Alpha. And again, I'm just waiting for him to come out here. I want to keep him at range, use my good guns. But we'll see if he's going to fall for that this time. I think he's playing it smarter, and for that I give him some credit, you know. But at the end of the day, I know that as soon as he is spotted, I have all the advantages. And I'm not sure he's fully up on when to use that smoke sonar combo. All right, so he just blew his second rack of torps. So I know he's torped out right now. So I'm going to start to angle my bow back in. hoping to spot him. And I don't remember where I actually saw him at. But that's why I'm cranking the bow in. A, his torpedoes on reload. B, hitting an island in these rank battles is a great way to get killed. Be very cognizant of the minimap, folks. Alright, so he spots me. I am anticipating him popping up any second now. Again, he's giving me all this range. You just cannot do that to a Russian or a Pan-Asian destroyer that used to be a Russian. Braking here because I'm anticipating torpedoes. We're going to cut very close to this island here. We still have all our guns on the port side of the ship. I guess the torpedoes aren't coming. So now I'm going to try to snipe him. Yes, they are. He's sonaring behind the island. I just don't... You want to sonar the ship when he is in open water so you can unobstructively get all of your sonar charge out on where he is at. And I'm just going to use the island against him here. Again, scare tactic, torpedo launch. I know he cannot see me. Here, guaranteed detectability kicks in. So I'm just going to wait him out. I'm just going to wait him out until his sonar is over. And wait for him to come around the island. We are going to smoke up and back off a little bit to see if he's willing to expose himself. We flip caps again, so there's no advantage there. Still backing up into the island here. And I want to say I think his sonar is going to run out any minute now. But we do have a fast ship, and I'm not afraid to come out here. If he starts shooting, I'm going to see him. Sonar runs out. He never shot at me once during that sonar. We cut in and dodge his torpedoes. Gotta use your consumables better, sir. That's all I can say. Here I'm slowing down again because I think he's going to launch another rack of torps. You know, and maybe if I had had my regular torpedoes, he does launch the torps. His strategy is very predictable to me. And maybe if I had my torps, I would have played that a lot more aggressively and gotten killed as a result. So I think maybe, for me, it helped me not to have the regular torpedoes on the ship. Here, again, we're moving at an angle to where his guns can't engage me fully. And again, you gotta understand positioning. When the butt of your ship is towards me, I have all the advantage in DPM. So I was gonna let him burn out there, but I decided to go. All right, that's that. So that's how you deal with the T-61, folks. You make them blow their consumables, you get them in open water, you tear them up with the Anshan's guns. All right, moving on to Tier 4. Did anybody participate in this Black Friday sale? I'll admit it, I'm a quasi-whale. I bought some insignias. I can do that. Nobody's the boss of my finances. All right, another Fubuki. I mean, you got to be kidding me. You're not going to rank out very successfully with a Fubuki. And I saw people putting pictures up on Reddit, 42 matches to rank out. I mean, I'm glad you ranked out, but 42 matches, you got to really reconsider your ship choices if it is taking you that long.
Battle starts.
You know? And granted, maybe some people get luck of the draw. Maybe there are no tough matchups. Maybe there are no sonar against their destroyers. You know, there's always that possibility too. But 42 matches. I would say to anybody who's struggling that hard and ranked, pick one class, pick one ship line, and master everything about that ship line. And then use that ship line in ranked battles. You know, and sometimes you just got to admit you're not going to win. You know, I'm sure this Fubuki player is thinking, if I can't torp this guy, I'm dead. You know, speaking of torps, we'll throw some out there just to see. The islands favor the Fubuki, so I have no idea why I'm going over there, but the RDF indicator puts me around that little island over there to our starboard right there, so that's kind of why I'm moving over here, but realistically, you'd want to be in the open water. Although the islands do make it harder for him to get good torps off. I really don't like the placing of the caps in this map. You know, I understand why they do the zoomed in maps. I just ton of islands on one side, nothing on the other side. Yeah, not so much. All right, so we're lighting them up. We capped out Bravo. We're dual capping here, Alpha and Bravo. That's always a great tactic if you can pull it off. He's just trying to run away. That's pretty much all he can do. But at the end of the day, and he does get a hit and reset the cap. That's not bad. At the end of the day, to me, it might be more worth it for him to charge me at this point because I'm behind an island. And at the very least, if he's using a speed boost, he might be able to get torps off at me before I can get out of the way. That would have been my strategy if I was the Fubuki in this scenario. Easy for me to say that as we capture out Alpha, but that would have been my plan. Now I know at this point he's going to have to come back into Bravo to avoid losing the match. So at this point, it is all advantage for a gunboat. You can just sail around looking for him to shoot at. He's got to come into the cap. It limits where he's going to be. You know that. And so that's advantage you all the way. I can see my laptop battery is getting low. May have to do a break to plug the computer in. All right, he came into the cap. He is visible. We are dead in the water. Just using the front two turrets because I know he can't win. Turn a little bit, get the third turret on again. We really don't need to do any more than that. Even though the shell grouping's not the greatest, it is enough to finish off Fubuki. Definitely don't recommend Fubuki in ranked battles, folks. I am going to do at some point a average player's guide how to destroyers, so I know 3D has been waiting for that. And I am going to recommend that the Japanese line is the line you start with if you're not a good destroyer player or haven't played destroyers before. Simply because there's a lot less of the game to manage. But we'll get into that when we get into it. All right, here's a match against a cruiser and Aoba. Now, I am not a cruiser player. I don't know anything about the Aoba. I mean, I have it. I have the ship all the way unlocked. And prestige, or whatever they call it in this game. The little wreath around it, you know. But if you said, what's the Aoba armed with? I'd be like, I don't know, 203s? Does it have sonar? Maybe. It has good torpedoes. It has great HE. That's all I can tell you. So I know I will be able to finally use my Deepwater Torpedoes, and I'm pretty jacked about that. So let's see how the match goes against the Aoba. Now he's going to make himself visible, I want to say. Oh, he put up a plane, that's right. Yeah, so he puts up a plane. So I have an idea of where he's at. So I said to myself, we're going to hide behind this island. If he comes around the corner of the island, we'll torp him. And then use our armor piercing. If he doesn't, then we'll cap this little one and go worry about the big one later. And I always like to cap the little one first, because if you get it, it's a harder one to cap later in the game, I feel. Whereas the big cap is a lot more area to defend. The little cap is just a small area to defend. Obviously, it's easier to defend a small area. And so the closer we are, the more advantage we have against a cruiser, as opposed to destroyers where it's the exact opposite. So we do cap this out. I'm backing up, obviously, because I go a lot faster and forward than reverse. Thinking if we spot him, we're just going to go all ahead full and speed our way out of the problem. And maybe throw some torpedoes back, get him to chase us, and he runs into the torpedoes. That's my plan anyway. So that's why I'm turning to get my launcher angle open. He is too far away, though. He really is. So he sees me, I see him. I'm going to light him up and get a cap defended flag. And he can't shoot at me. I mean, he can't see me to shoot at me. Where I can shoot at him. I don't think you should have been shooting. Just one man's opinion. Because I can see him and he can't see me. Alright. So we're going to move out. We're going to switch sides here of the ship. And then we're going to switch back. Because I was like, don't turn against your turrets. Something I harp about in battleships all the time. So don't turn against your turrets. We're going to launch torpedoes into the smoke screen. We'll launch one set and keep the rest for later. But here I'm just waiting for him to make himself visible, hoping he would push in so I could finish him off. But I don't think that happened. But that's why I'm slowing up here. I want him to pursue me where he last saw me. That was my strategy, at least, as far as this part of the game is concerned. By slowing up, we avoid his torpedoes. Now, I think he probably has more. Although, do I turn to count them? No. I think he has more torpedoes. I'll just worry about those if he launches them. We are spotted again. He's kind of a little bit closer. We will launch torpedoes here. And remember, these torpedoes are very stealthy. So we're turning. I am intending to shoot at him at some point. But right now, my main concern was creating distance. I guess he doesn't see my torpedoes or doesn't know they're there. Armor piercing didn't do a ton of damage, but those torpedoes sure do. And that's how you take out an AOBA. Alright, moving on to rank 3, where you got to win 3 matches at each level. All my losses, which are clipped out of here, occurred at rank 3. And 1 at rank 2. 2 at rank 3, 1 at rank 2. So I cut those matches out. I also cut the duplicate wins out. So I didn't want to take any time. Bovoy. This was a very odd choice in my opinion. The Bovoy's got 2 twin turrets. They don't have a great fire rate. It does have longer range torpedoes, but I was like kind of astonished somebody would go with the Bovoy. To me, the Genevi is a much better choice than the Bovoy in this kind of game, really. And while we're saying that, the Anshan, if you put those regular torpedoes on, it is essentially a carbon copy of the Genevi at that point. That's the only thing that separates them is the ability to mount the Deepwater torpedoes, which is why I put the Deepwater torpedoes here. All right, so I know that as long as I don't get hit with Bovoy torpedoes, I'm going to be able to outgun him easily, because I know the fire rate of the Bovoy isn't that great. All right. So again, I decided to go into the big part of the map here. At least initially, I am a little bit worried about the torpedoes. They are Russian torpedoes. They're going to be hard to spot. And so I did not want to have that happen to me. So I'm just content with hanging out for now in this part of the cap and waiting for him to make himself visible. And we get the solo base cap. So now I'm going to do what I tell people never to do. I was starting to turn against my guns. Then the RDF indicator said to me that he is over there. He probably sailed right through my torpedoes. But I'm anticipating, and there he is. And so again, the closer range favors the ship with the better ballistics. In this case, I might not have better ballistics, but I have faster firing guns. And as you can see here, set him on fire. His torpedoes are nowhere close. His second set of torpedoes is nowhere close. And so I'm able to just sit back and pick him apart. And he has done almost no damage to me comparatively. So that is why the Bovoy is not a good choice for ranked battles. Just does not have the DPM. And it doesn't have the... stealth to pull off stealth torping. All right. Big race. I do not like this map on ranked battles because it's got that one corner of the map where it's all closed in by islands. I don't like that at all. What ship did we face here? What am I taking so long for? Somebody must have been trying to get a hold of me on the phone. All right, maybe this is going to be the loss match.
General quarters.
I don't know. I thought I clipped it out. Maybe I didn't. All right, so maybe this is a rematch. I think that's what it might be. A rematch against the guy who killed me. So I think I spawned on the other side of the map on the last match where I got killed. I'm very cognizant of being set on fire. Here the Mahan makes himself visible, or probably was that visible ordinarily. Able to engage him at long range. Don't really do anything doing that first salvo. But we did do some damage. He didn't shoot at me at all. So I'm pretty heartened by that. But as you can see, I'm very suspicious here. And so I'm creating a ton of room. Want to stay out of the torpedo range if I can. Although I'm not sure if he's going to come out from behind the island or he's going around. And if he's going around, I'm going to switch sides and go against my turrets. And I never recommend that unless you have a really fast turret traverse. But on the other hand, I also don't want him to get too close because he's got short-range torpedoes and I do not. So I'm turning away and going back the way I came because I feel that that's the best way to deal with this. Now, he did launch torpedoes, but he launched them through the wrong gap. Comes out on this side, and I don't have the guns over there yet. And I think he just cut that corner way too wide. And so here, I'm disabling his rudder, and then he's going to damage combat, presumably. So at some point here, right after that, I'm like, okay, now I can get all turrets on target. Ran into the island. Normally this hurts you. I was starting to get a little worried that I might have let him get too close here. But again, the rate of fire in the Anshan is just so good, he doesn't stand a chance. So aside from running into that island thing, yeah. All right. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can make it without having to plug the laptop in. 16% battery life right now. All right. What's next? New Dawn. I don't mind New Dawn. Nuremberg. All right. I get to get revenge. Revenge on the Nuremberg. So this guy killed me, I think, and then I get a rematch against him. I can't swear that they're all rematches against people I fought before, but I think it's a rematch. So I said to myself, got to get close, got to use these torpedoes to take him out. That's the advantage I have, is the Deepwater Torpedoes. So we'll get close enough to use them, we'll use them, and then we'll get out of there. New Dawn kind of rings the cap circle with islands, so got to be very cautious when you're going inside there. Especially against a ship with sonar, which I believe the Nuremberg has. And of course we do not have, so very cautious. Alright, great news is that I spotted him already. He is way outside the cap. So I am going to turn in a little bit. Again, I'm just trying to capture the small cap circle to put pressure on the Nuremberg, make him come to me. I think I did that so I could torp if he decides to cut in here. But I don't think he does. I don't think he tries to close the distance at all. And I am content, if I'm not spotted, to just chill out and capture this base. You know, you don't always have to shoot, folks. You don't always have to shoot. Here I would like to torp again, but I think I'm going to just speculatively throw some out there. We captured Alpha, which was my goal, and I'm just going to sail away, making sure he's still on his intended route. And right now, honestly, I'm just like, I hope he runs into those torpedoes. You know. So right now, we're just taking a break. We're no stress on ourselves. He is still capping Bravo. And we are content to let him do that. Gonna zoom in here. He's slowed down and the torpedoes miss him. We are spotted, so we are going to start shooting. Working on a torpedo reload. Don't have it. Am I going to load armor piercing?
Smoke generator started.
Oh, I was going to smoke up, but he
Engine
put
boost
on
activated.
his sonar, so I said charge. Bow on. We got the armor piercing loaded. We dodge his torpedoes. We take a good hit, but we citadel him a couple of times, or at least once.
Smoke screen set.
And at this point, I am just waiting to get to where I can use torpedoes. We'll cut the corner a little bit. We'll line him up. Can't find the Citadel location again, but we torped the crap out of it. And that's how you deal with a cruiser, in my opinion, at least in the Anshan 1v1. All right, moving on to rank 2. I think we got it. 12% battery life. Moving on to rank 2. All right, who do we got here? And I will say one other thing. The reason why I really like 1v1 rank battles, you're not waiting in the queue forever. The longest I think I had to wait to get into a match was like under 30 seconds. So kudos to Ouija for coming out with these 1v1s. Really like them. Although I still am waiting for the tier 2 1v1s. Hint, hint. All right, back on Big Race in the Fushan. Now, the Fushan is the tech tree version of this ship, so it only has deepwater torpedoes. So we're in a straight-up gunboat battle. Well, I've got a fully maxed out Billy Sims, and a almost fully maxed out Sajan Bing is my commander. Sims is the inspiration. So I know I have more hit points than him probably, and I probably got Sajan Bing at a higher level than he does. So this is an instance where having those commanders ranked up, I mean, does make a difference. Now, I don't know if the Fushan got the same buff that the Genevi did. I'm presuming it did, but I don't know that. Now, the Fushan isn't Genevi, I don't think. Actually, let me... something I should have thought about. Let me try to look that up. Is he even spotted? I can't even see the screen. No.
Smoke generator started.
All right, the Fushan is a Genevi class, so essentially we should be fighting ourselves, a mirror image of ourselves here. All right, we capture out one of the bases. We lit him up momentarily. He can't hit me with his torpedoes. I can't hit him with mine. I know that. We're just launching him anyway to see if he makes himself visible. Either way, no problem. Capturing the base. So he's an alpha. He is spotted. We're going to go bow on. Obviously, don't have to worry about his torpedoes. So it's just a straight gun battle at this point. Although I dodged his torpedoes anyway, which is very funny. But here we're just going to turn and get on the kind of the tail end of his ship. Now, his turret should have been turned that way. I don't know why he isn't just tearing me up here, but we set him on fire. We've done way more damage to him than he has done to me. So at this point, we're just going to out-DPM him to the finish. And, you know, that's how you take out the Fushan. Good times. All right, 9% on the battery. I think I will have to plug this thing in. All right, sorry about the commotion, everybody. Had to relocate the power cord from over near the Xbox. All right, here's another Mahan. I'm sure these guys thought I'm the best gunboat in these ranked battles. I'm going to say to you, no, sir. No, you are not. And a lot of it depends on how highly ranked your commanders are, how highly ranked their inspirations are, and RNG. That's what it's going to come down to in some of these fights. I think the Mahan guys forgot they had torpedoes, though. All right. He's spotted. Giving us a good angle there. I like that. Give me the angle. We're going to use the island as a break here. Obviously, I'm thinking he's probably going to torp, so that's why I'm turning out a little bit.
Engine boost activated.
And now we're going to force him to come to us, which is advantage us due to our ballistics. He's kind of going bow on. That means he can't get all the turrets on target. We are knocking out his turrets and his rudder and all sorts of stuff. So here I feel pretty confident based on what I've seen thus far that I'm not going to have any problem beating this guy. So I'm not saying I'm playing with my food here, but I'm very unworried. You can see he's dead in the water. The back half of his ship is kind of smoky, and that means he doesn't have propulsion. Here I did kind of mess up, went a little bit too far. I shouldn't have done that. I should be backing up right now. But again, I am not worried about losing to this person at all. He's not playing aggressively enough. Now, granted, at this point, I have a huge advantage in hit points. He hasn't even damaged me yet. And I think he's at half health, if not lower. You know. So he can capture that all day long. Because I know I have the hit point advantage. And that's going to be... There's going to be a scenario or a situation where he's not going to be able to stay out of my detection. So here, I don't know what he thought I was doing. Or maybe he just said, I'm going to lose, and put the controller down and went to the bathroom or something. I don't know. But we're going to come around the corner of the island here and spot him. And you can see he is not in a position to fight back in any way. I think we're going to spot him right about now. Maybe. Well, I can keep periodically saying right about now and hope that one of them is right. Eventually we're going to see him, and he's going to be stern towards me, essentially. So I don't know if he stopped responding or thought I was going to come around the other side of the island or something. But I distinctly remember looking at the rear end of his ship going, thank you for positioning yourself in a way that benefits me totally and does not benefit you at all. So we come to a full stop and light him up. And that's, again, Mahan's not that strong if you know how to fight it. And you get some good RNG. All right. Moving on to the last match. If you made it this far, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Not for me, but for yourself. I really hope if you're watching this that you ranked out. And maybe, like I did in the past, maybe I will do a video before the next ranked season, although I don't think I will because I already have the videos all published. Never mind. All right, another Mahan. We're here on Polar. And this is the match to rank out for us. Here in the Anshan right now, I can tell you my confidence level against the Mahan is through the roof because I've been beating them pretty regularly. I'm just remembering to save that damage con in case I get something knocked out because I don't want to burn to death. That one loss to the Mahan taught me that lesson. And so here he is, very visible. I want to say I think this is the guy we just beat in the previous match. Again, knock out his rudder, knock out a torpedo tube. So then I know he used his damage con. I know that. So I know if I get another good hit on him and damage him again, he could be disabled. He could burn to death in a fire. Really, really great guns on these ships. Don't hesitate to use them. Just be smarter than me if you have the Anshan. And when you use it, switch to those regular torpedoes. Now, I use the Deepwater Torpedoes in the Anshan because when I'm playing this thing in a regular game, I want to be able to reach out farther with my torpedoes and do more damage. All right, Mahan made himself visible. Again, we knock out his propulsion. So he is essentially dead in the water. He probably can't get close enough. Well, yeah, he can. He's close enough to hit us with torpedoes. He's going to launch torpedoes here, actually. But by this point, we've done so much damage to him that it is not going to matter. Here come the torpedoes. He bowed down a little too late, and we finish him off to rank out for the Tier 5 1v1. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. You can always subscribe if you want more slightly above average ship reviews. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video, everybody. Peace out.